Playing League of Legends can be a challenge for beginners, and I'm not just talking about the vast amounts of information about the strategies, rotations, pathings and decision making that pushes the macro to the next level, but about the complexity of the micro of the champions, the bare mechanics you have to execute and the precision of your mouse clicks. If you think you still have problems with these areas, this video is perfect for you. With these 10 champions, you will be able to try out the game or play in a new position without worrying about their difficulty, as they are easy to play and won't require difficult execution. Let's see who they are. Garen is regarded by many as the simplest champion in the game, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. He's a fighter, so you will be amazed by how tough and damaging this soldier can be. His most iconic ability is Judgment, in which Garen spins his sword around himself, dealing huge damage to everyone in his range. And with his ultimate ability, Demacian Justice, a celestial sword will fall from the skies to execute enemies. With his simple abilities, you can focus on learning about general game mechanics without worrying too much about your champion. I recommend you to play Garen if you like close quarter fights, strength over precision, and being a simple soldier, but being the one that makes the difference. Mordekaiser, as a fighter, can be somewhat similar to Garen, but he has a couple of more delicate tools to influence the game and express your personal skill, so it's great for beginners that want a slightly more challenging champion to play. These are most precisely his Death's Grasp ability, in which Mordekaiser commands a spectral hand to bring enemies closer to him, and his ultimate ability Realm of Death, with which you can take an enemy champion with you into the world of the undead, a parallel world in which only you and your enemy exist in a 1v1 duel. Using these tools smartly will make a huge difference, and the more you play him, the better strategies you will come up with. I recommend you to play Mordekaiser if you like close quarter fights, more than just damage numbers, and being the Lord of Death enslaving souls into an eternal servitude of war and pain. Warwick is one of the scariest fighters in the jungle, given the ruthless hunting powers of this beast. This is thanks to his ability Blood Hunt, a passive ability that allows Warwick to smell the blood of injured enemies, alerting him of where they are if they have less than 50% health, and granting additional movement speed when moving towards them. Warwick's ultimate, Infinite Duress, makes him leap a great distance towards and repeatedly attack the first enemy champion he collides with, making it a great tool to ambush enemies and surprise them. Easy champion to start with, but challenging to master, Warwick is a great addition to the champion pool of any player. I recommend you to play Warwick if you like an aggressive take of the jungle, lifesteal based characters, and setting your inner beast free, letting your instincts go wild and embracing the monster. Nunu and Willump are a fun tandem tank to play, with great long-range mobility to catch enemies off guard and amazing tools to keep enemies at bay. You will love their W ability, Biggest Snowball Ever, in which they start rolling a snowball that will speed them up and send enemies into the air when it crashes into them. Their ultimate ability, Absolute Zero, makes Nunu and Willump channel their magic, creating a blizzard that slows all enemies inside it. At the end of the channel, the blizzard explodes into a burst of magic, dealing huge damage. However, be wary when playing this champion, sometimes their playstyle can get a bit frenetic. I recommend you to play Nunu and Willump if you like a defensive take of the jungle, having a strong zoning game, and friendship tales about whimsical tandems. Annie is a very straightforward mage with easy to use abilities and a very clear objective, instantly delete unsuspecting enemies. Her gameplay is extremely influenced by her passive, Pyromania. Every time she uses an ability, she will receive a stack. When she reaches 5, her next ability will stun all enemies hit. This has an amazing synergy with the rest of her kit, and especially with her ultimate, Summon Tivers, in which the spirit in her teddy bear liberates himself and deals huge amount of damage on his appearance, but also remains in the battlefield attacking and burning enemies while he lives. This makes her a perfect champion for beginners who wish to learn how to play middle. I recommend you to play Annie if you like to create pressure with your mere presence, simple tools from which make great things, and watching your enemies burn. Lux might seem like a difficult mage to play, as she has to aim all 4 of her abilities, but her game plan isn't that complex once you understand it. You catch unsuspecting enemies with your light binding ability, a missile that damage and immobilize the first 2 enemies hit, and then unleash your whole combo into them. The most iconic ability in her arsenal is her ultimate ability, Final Spark, a long-range laser beam that works great to finish off fleeing enemies. She also features some utility in her kit, so she's the perfect champion if you want a bit more of a challenge when learning the champion. I recommend you to play Lux if you like the safety of having huge range, sniping fleeing enemies, and fighting darkness with light and positivity. Ashe plays like the commander she is, being a reliable marksman, damaging enemies with barrages of slowing frost arrows, but also helping her team out with her leader skills, providing vision and initiating fights from any place on the map. A vital part of her kit is her ultimate, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, a global skill shot that damages and stuns the first champion it hits, allowing you to help teammates or initiate a fight at any distance, as long as your aim is true. Ashe is without a doubt one of the best champions to start playing bottom with, learning both the basic of marksman and the basics of playing through the whole map. I recommend you to play Ashe if you like fighting from range, a basic but solid kit, and being the leader, a beacon of hope in the frozen lands. Tristana is a marksman that treads between 2 wildly different playstyles, a safe calculated shooter from afar, and a reckless crazy cannoneer jumping straight into the fight. With her abilities Draw a Bed and Rapid Fire, she obtains bonus range and attack speed, nothing flashy nor crazy, efficiency and security. On the other hand, she can quickly cover great distances with Rocket Jump and knock enemies away with her ultimate Buster Shot. This combination of styles makes her a great pick for beginner bottom players, as you can play safe from range while learning the basic, but as you get used to her mechanics you can try riskier plays and see how much you can gamble for the kill. I recommend you to play Tristana if you like gradually scaling and growing more powerful, having several safety tools, and making a playground out of the battlefield. Sona is a very popular controller with a wide variety of buffs, and she doesn't require almost any ability to aim skill shots, relying instead on her positioning and movement. She has a special set of abilities, as they are songs that have both an immediate effect and an aura effect, damage, healing and speed. However, she's one of the most fragile characters in the game, so your positioning will be key to survive. If your true calling is to heal and help teammates, you will love going into support picking Sona. I recommend you to play Sona if you like helping and healing your allies, having a smart positioning over precise aiming, and playing an instrument, bard characters, or just music in general. Alistar is one of the most reliable and iconic tanks in the game, able to initiate fights, repel enemies, heal your allies, and resist incredible amounts of damage. The flexibility Alistar brings to the game comes from the amazing combination of 2 of his basic abilities: Pulverize, knocking enemies up into the air, and Headbutt, a charge against an enemy which knocks them back. So if you want to initiate the offensive, you can combine the charge with the knock-up, allowing Alistar to expose enemies from distance. If the enemy has initiated into you, you can knock them out first and then send them back to where they came from. This flexibility makes him a staple champion in the support position. I recommend you to play Alistar if you like being the front lane tank that brings protection, simple tools from which adapt into every situation, and hiding a kind and noble heart behind a bloodthirsty, furious appearance. These are just 10 champions which will allow you to get a basic understanding of the game during your first matches, while you get used to the controls before playing more difficult champions. If you like them, keep playing and mastering them. but if no one really suits you and you find your calling in another champion, go for it. It might be more difficult, but as long as you like them and enjoy your time playing them, you will be in the right direction. And that's it! Hope you found this video useful. This is my first video on the series of League Basics, in which I try to make smoother the introduction of new players into League, so check this playlist for more content like this. I also have the ultimate guide for classes and positions. You will never see the game the same once you have learned this, so give it a try if you can. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you in the next one. See ya!